You have never done life like this. It is Doing Life with Maria and Chad.
Got some surprises for you today on the podcast, Maria, including a game that I've crafted specifically for you. If you change a word in a movie title, it makes it rather funny. That's coming up on today's podcast.
With this quarantine continuing, my husband and I have had to, come up with our own entertain ourselves.
I think everybody's in that boat. Yeah, it's like, what do you do with all this idle time?
So the other night, my husband and I were, again, sitting on the patio, and we started talking about the fact that there are some families, I don't know if you've heard of this, that raise their children gender neutral.
Yes, I have heard of this. Yep.
What that means is the babies are born. They don't tell anybody the gender of their baby. So obviously the parents know, and maybe the teachers know. I'm not exactly sure, but they don't tell anybody if it's a boy or a girl, and they raise this child as a they or it. I'm not exactly sure all the pronouns that they use.
What about clothing? Are the
neutral?
So no dresses, right? Always nope. Pants, which would work for both genders. Mm-hmm. And restrooms?
They can pick
and
which one they want to use.
And the teacher does sometimes know.
I didn't get into that part, but these are called they-bees.
Yeah, I like the name.
Instead of babies.
Okay, because they wanted them to decide, which is very progressive.
Well, and it was really interesting because one of the articles I read was a family that had twins, and they had a boy and a girl. Mm-hmm. And the dad would come home sometimes, and the boy would be dressed up in princess clothes and a princess crown. And he'd be like, "I'm a princess today." And the dad, who was actually a child psychologist, was like, "All right, that's awesome. Good job."
Right.
And didn't judge.
Yeah.
Because the next day, the kid would be playing baseball with his buddies and sliding into home plate. And I think that was kind of the catalyst to these people saying, let the kids do whatever they want. Don't judge. Just because it's a girl, don't buy her a Barbie. Just because it's a boy, don't buy him a truck for his birthday. Let them pick what they want, kind of thing.
It takes me, I think of my childhood, and if I would have done just that, if my dad came home and I was in a dress, my dad is very easygoing, but I think that there probably would have been a conversation after that. You know what I mean? Because that was a different time. We've progressed a lot as human beings since I was a kid, Well, this whole conversation about they-bees turned into dogs. And if we had a dog and we wanted to raise the dog gender neutral, what would we name it? The first thing that comes to mind is Pat, from the Saturday Night Live sketch.
That's exactly it. We wrote Pat the dog, which is kind of a double meaning because you're going to pat the dog on the head.
Yeah.
And then Patrick or Patricia. So the other night, we're totally laughing at ourselves, talking about the fact that our next dog is going to be Pat the dog, gender neutral.
I love it. I support your choice to raise your dog gender neutral. It might get a little weird when the dog hikes its leg on a fire hydrant, but let it happen.
Oh my God. And maybe that was just more funny to us.
No, that's great.
Those, you had to be there kind of things.
Do you remember the Saturday Night Live? My name's Pat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're in the pantsuit.
Oh my gosh. It was just, it was entertaining to us.
All
so
right.
Feel free to, for those who listen to, use the name Pat the dog for your dog.
I like the term they-bees. I've never heard that. While you're learning about that, I found something that got my mind wandering. These stories pop up from time to time. And, with COVID in the news, this actually comes from Asia. It's a 30-year-old man. He's in China. And he went to the hospital because he had a sore stomach and abdominal pain, okay? Mm-hmm. After the examination, the doctor found something in his rectum. What do
In
you
his
think?
butt.
Yeah. What do you think was inside this Chinese man's rectum?
His finger.
They would have noticed that when he walked in, I think. No. He claims he sat on a fish.
What?
The man told doctors he sat down on a fish by accident, which then slipped into his rectum. He came to the hospital after he tried to remove it himself and failed, so he needed to get the expert. And it's no longer in there. But this story has inspired me, Maria, to come up with a little game that I thought I would have you play today, if you're willing.
Of course I'm willing.
This is What's the Word Butthole edition, okay? So
Okay.
I replaced a word in a movie title with the word butthole, and you tell me if you can figure out what movie title I'm thinking of, okay? All right, here we go. Number 1 is, Dude, Where's My Butthole?
Dude, where's my car?
Very good. Car is the word. Yep. Okay. How about this? The Texas Butthole Massacre.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Wow, you're doing great. How about My Big Fat Greek Butthole?
Wedding, my big fat Greek wedding.
You're doing great. I knew you'd do good at this one. You get the next one, I think, too. How about Charlie and the Chocolate Butthole?
Factory, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
You're doing great. Lethal Butthole 2.
Weapon, lethal weapon.
Honey, I Shrunk the Butthole.
Wow, apparently I know my buttholes. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, you do.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
It's a Wonderful Butthole. See?
Life. It's a wonderful life.
I got a few left here. Stop or my butthole will shoot.
I don't know if I know that one. Grandma? Is that
Mom.
right? Stop or my grandma will shoot?
Stop or my bomb will shoot. How to Train Your Butthole?
Dragon.
Dragon, very good. James and the Giant Butthole.
Ooh, I think I read that book. Peach. James and the Giant Peach.
The Nutty Butthole. That's a tough one.
Ooh, Professor.
And finally, this is made for you, especially for you, Maria. The Dark Butthole Rises.
The Dark Butthole Rises.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Night.
Very
the Dark
good.
Knight.
Maria Knight.
Woo!
You win.
Woo!
Fantastic.
So were you inspired by this whole butthole conversation? And let me quote here. Tonight's the night.
Oh my gosh, you're going to bring that up. Yeah.
I am. You need to explain. Tonight's the night.
It started as an inside joke, and then my wife had too many drinks and started sharing with people. But it was, there's different ways of having relations with your spouse. And
Yes.
One is missionary, and then there's the other one that we were just talking about, like sitting on a fish. So when, as a joke, I would say, tonight's the night. And then obviously I was joking because that's not our thing. But then she started telling everybody that I would say that. And it's kind of become a running joke as tonight's the night. So yeah, I know your husband, has he started using this as a phrase?
Yeah, we use it all the time. It's just freaking hilarious.
Tonight's the night. And this concludes our podcast. We have a lot of great updates, Maria. A lot of great places that we're at now. I saw that we got approved for TuneIn Radio. You can listen on the TuneIn app. Of course, on Facebook, or not Facebook, YouTube. You can look for Doing Life with Maria and Chad. Spotify, we're still getting kicked out by iTunes. Are they saying no still?
I haven't heard anything yay or nay on iTunes. It takes about 2 weeks. We're working on the iHeart
iHeartRadio.
Media podcast. That's going to take up to 2 weeks as well.
And then Google Podcasts, we're on there as well. So make sure you subscribe, especially on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, because when there's new videos, we're doing 2 podcasts a week, and you don't want to miss one butthole episode. I mean, there's just so many. What are we doing here? Thanks for listening and watching. Goodbye.
Tonight's the night.
I'm embarrassed. Can you see how my face is red?